Dr. Howard. Yeah, so I'm very excited to have her here, and so she's going to give you like real life interview training, not just pageants.
Okay, so have any of you had a job ever? You'll all be new to that field when you get there, right?
Yeah.
So the younger you are, the harder it is because you have to experience it a few times. What I have learned is there's a couple of key things to keep in mind. This is just from my experience and the fact that I used to train dental assistants, so I always had an interviewing course with them. So we talked a lot about it, and they would ask questions like, why I've had numerous interviews, I just can't get past it. And so we came up with a few ideas. Number one, you're going to be nervous. Everybody is, even people that have done it 1,000 times. I was talking to my sister today who interviewed to go to medical school, and she said, it's amazing how nervous you sit and prepare, but you're still nervous. So, one thing we have found that when you're nervous and you have gum in your mouth, what do you think you do? You chew faster and harder. So our recommendation for that would be not to have gum in your mouth while you're interviewing. If you feel like you need something, have a breath mint when you get there or you're walking in, and then chew it up and swallow it before you interview with the doctor or whoever you're interviewing with. Fingernails. This is a hard one, but I've learned this through the field I've worked in. I've been there 14 years. Your hands in any profession, if your hands are dirty, you will not get the job. It doesn't matter what it is. They will completely relate that to your hygiene and everything else. And say you're working, even if you're working at McDonald's or Lynn's or Ace Hardware, anything. So you want to make sure that your hands are clean. Fingernails need to be painted freshly if you have paint on. I suggest not using a really bright nail polish. If you read a lot of studies about interviewing, bright colors are not recommended in anywhere on your body, really, and so fingernails would also be classified in that. But what if I came into my interview and I was slouched down like this? How do you think? I'm like this. All right, I'm here. What do you think they're going to think? You're lazy. You're lazy. Yeah, you're not going to give an extra effort. They want to see somebody with really great posture, and it is amazing. Your resume, you can look like $1 million, your resume. You're there because of that. But if you walk in the door and you show something different than what you wrote on paper, they think that you fabricated that, and it's not the truth, and why are you even there? So even early, nowadays, to get a job in Hurricane as a young teenager, you really have to stand out and shine, because I know girls that are 17 that are searching for jobs right now for the summer, and it is challenging. So you have to stand out. Clothing, give me some ideas of things that you might not want to wear, and then I'll give you some things that are surprisingly that I found online that you shouldn't wear. Sweats. That's a good one. That is a good one. Short skirts, even revealing tank tops or V-necks that might go low. If you bent over, it shows. Whether or not you think it will, you need to be really careful. So they ask modest clothing. I read online skirts. You would think a nice skirt, maybe some sandals. In any profession, they always recommend that you don't wear skirts, or if you do, you wear pantyhose or tights, because they don't want to see skin, period. So you need to be really careful with all of that. Open-toed shoes. I read that. I think I believe it, but it's hard for me, and it's 115 degrees outside, and we have a really nice pair of sandals on. It's hard for me to believe that you won't get the job, but there's a lot of evidence that show that you should wear a closed-toed shoe while you're interviewing. And that's with any, I read from corporate jobs to just regular everyday jobs. These are all recommendations for all of them. How about eye contact? Give me some reasons why you'd want to have a good eye contact with your person who's interviewing you.
So it shows that you're not as nervous?
Yeah, and that you're truthful. When you talk and you look at somebody in their eyes, you're truthful. They believe you. If you're sitting there looking down or you're looking around, you're either not interested in the discussion or you're nervous or something other than that. So you want to maintain it, but you want to be careful not to stare in their eyes, and scare them to death. So I was talking to my sister again with this one, and this one brings a really valid point. You will be asked questions, and immediately when you hear a question, and you even start it, even when you're visiting with your friends, do you ever notice as soon as they start talking, answers start popping up in your mind, and you think, and you want to talk, and you just can't wait for them to finish asking a question or chatting so you can tell your side. You need to, when you're interviewing, it's very important that you listen to the entire question, and then you need to take one breath and then answer. You will complete your sentence if you do that, and that's all you need to know. It allows your brain enough time to form an entire sentence, and you'll react a lot better than scrambling to finish your sentence. Almost every time you interview, you are going to be asked, what is your worst quality, or what do you dislike? You'll always be asked a negative question. It's a trick question, actually. They're looking to see how you answer. So if I said, let's see, example, what is your worst quality? Give me an example of what you would say. Becca?
I don't know, that'd be difficult.
I know, it's
Try not
hard.
to make yourself look like negative. You don't want to bring down yourself.
Right. So you don't want to say, oh, well, my worst quality is I don't get up in the morning. Something. Give me some ideas what you would answer, just off the top of your head.
Like if you bit your fingernails.
Yeah, I bite my fingernails. I don't know. There's tons of answers that you could. What you want to do is take a positive aspect about you, like I am extremely. Let's see. When I'm given a task, I give it 110%, and I'm driven. And you want to take that and turn it into how I can make that better. When I'm given a task, I spend my entire day stressing over it. My goal is to ask questions, to get other people's opinion, to become a team player when I'm given a task, and make it effective in my work, our profession. So you want to take something that is positive and make it better. That's the answer when somebody's asking you something negative. And it's really hard because the first thing that we come up with are all these crazy things. I overeat, I this, I that, But we really want to take it, and you always want to relate it to something to do with the job that you're interviewing for. You don't want to just use a personal example. So that's kind of where we're going to lead into this section, because if you're just like you're in the spotlight, you're not going to be able to answer it effectively. Okay. Think of what you want to do prior, and this is good for every single person. It will make you a little bit less nervous. You want to think about it. You want to sit in front of a mirror, and you want to you want to answer some questions. I'll give you guys some questions. We'll go over them. Watch your posture. Watch your facial expressions. Watch yourself answer those questions. And then you can pick out things that you might want to do better. Slouching. My posture, I will say, the worst, because I sit at a computer all the time. You really want to be careful. And it's easiest if you just put your feet together and sit straight up. Don't use the back of your chair. And just sit and ask yourself questions. Have your mom, have your sisters, brothers, whatever, ask you questions so that you're on the spot, you're answering them. And if you have all of those practice questions answered in your mind, then when you go in, you at least have good, solid answers for questions, and it should lead into the questions that they're answering. Nowadays, I started writing these down because years ago we never had to worry about this, but cell phones, texting, cell phones. Number one, when you walk in the door, I don't care where you are, when you're sitting out in the waiting room, ready to go back to interview, do you think people are watching you, waiting? They are. They are watching. They sometimes will leave you out there to watch, just to see how you act. Because they know that once you get back there, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be doing all these different things, so that they want to watch and see how you're doing. So don't walk in the door and grab your phone. I suggest leave your phone in your vehicle outside. Don't even have it. It's too easy to have a tendency to hear it vibrate, ring, grab it. That is one of the biggest frustrations right now, are cell phones in the workplace. Every single office stresses about it. Their employees are always texting, they're just so available. So I would suggest when you're interviewing, don't even bring it into, you can, as soon as you get back outside, you can call and text and tell everybody if you got the job. You don't even need it in there. What do you think about when showing up on time? What are your thoughts on all of that? When you're supposed to be at an interview at 5, what time do you think you should arrive?
4:45.
For 5 minutes. They want you to be there 5 minutes early. If you're there at 4:45, you're going to be sitting there for a little bit. And you know, it's nice to show up, but if I showed up that early, I'd probably sit in my car for just a few minutes and then go in. But 5 minutes is the recommended time that you would be early. You never, ever, ever want to show up late. That is right there in your work ethic. They will notice it. Unless you get in a car accident or something on the way. That's the only reason that you would ever be late for an interview. So be prepared a half hour early, get there, and wait in your car, whatever you need to do. Okay, now we're going to go over, I have all these questions, so what I was going to do is put you in groups, and you're going to ask each other questions, and interview questions. And the 4 things I want you to think about when you're answering those, and you as the person watching, you want to listen to how is she prepared, her preparation, appearance, posture, and delivery, how she delivers the answers. And then you can write down, just little ideas if you want to. You can just put 4 smiley faces that you feel that all 4 of those things were delivered appropriately. However, but this is to help each other, and so I want you to, get in a group of 4. We can do it all in a group, however you want to do it, and go through it, and you can, just help each other. So, but I'll just go over a few of them. So, like 1, tell me about yourself. That's an opener. Every place that you go to interview, that's one of their opening questions. You have to remember that they're not asking your whole life history. They want to know that you have a good sense of humor, that you're nice and friendly, but you want to keep it brief. Just give a little bit of information, and then that's good. But that's what it is. You can let them know I'm currently attending Hurricane High School. I live in Tokerville. Those type of questions or answers. Why are you interested in working for this company? State all the positives. When you're going to interview at Ace Hardware, state before you go, that's one of the things you're going to sit in front of the mirror. What in Ace Hardware do I like? For one, have you ever noticed the friendly staff in that place? Everybody is nice in Ace Hardware. So that's something that you can bring up. I love the environment. When I come in here, I feel like I'm at home, so I want to join this team. How do others describe you? How do you think you will fit in? That it's how, when they're describing you, how would somebody describe you to fit into that office or that workplace? So try to link it together. your strengths. You know, just briefly give some ideas. You know, maybe you attended a play. You can throw in little key things that would indicate that you're involved in your community, stuff like that. And see if there's any others that I want to. Oh, no, we're gonna do, I think you guys should do these, but I talked about major weaknesses. Those are trick questions, so always listen. That's one especially that you want to listen to the question, think about it, take that breath, and then answer. The weakness, we're going to take that positive and make it even more positive. Describe your best or worst boss. Yikes. Somebody asked me that. I panicked, but that does happen. In fact, I recall it one time. And so, what would you do if somebody said, describe your best or worst boss? Do you think you'd say, oh my word, I had this boss, he was a terrible. Do you think you would do that? Probably not. You probably wouldn't. You'd pick your best, right? And you'd say, oh, you know, actually, to be honest, I can't even think of a bad experience, but I can tell you this great boss that I had, and she was the best team player, and I loved watching how she taught everybody in the school or however. So, okay, so here, I'm gonna pass these out. And it's just kind of an open discussion, but really take it seriously because you guys are right around the door from interviewing, and it's good to have just a good tool to work with. So, and there's 4 pins, so what I thought you could do is, like, if we did 2, maybe we'll do a 3 and a 2, and you can just have one person interview and one person answer, and then you can go back. So do you guys want to face your chairs towards each other? So normally you would interview towards each other.